All right, so this question said we should identify the points, the vertical asymptotes, horizontal asymptotes, even holes. Let's check if there is a hole, if there's discontinuity, and all these things. So let's start from function 1. So the first thing you are going to do is let's look for the horizontal asymptotes. Let me draw a line. Horizontal asymptotes. Now, if you can see that the highest degree of the numerator is bigger than the highest degree of the denominator, because this is a degree of 1 and the highest degree here is 2. So because of this, it nullifies horizontal asymptotes. So there's no horizontal asymptotes here. Before you have horizontal asymptotes, it's either the numerator is less than the denominator, or the numerator and the denominator, they have the same degree. Okay, so in this case, no horizontal asymptotes. Okay, so the next thing we are going to get, if you don't have horizontal asymptotes, definitely what you are going to have is slant. So let's find the slant. So from here we can say, and how to find the slant, of course you use your long division. Okay, so this is our dividend is x squared plus 3x plus 2, then divisor is x plus 1, right? So how do we do it? We say x squared divided by this first term here, x. So we are going to have x left. So that x that is left, you write it on your quotient, not dividend. So x multiplied by x, you have x squared, x multiplied by 1, you have plus x. Let me clean this. So we subtract this, we cancel out this. This is now negative. So 2 minus 1 is going to give you 2x. You bring down 2 plus 2. So you also do that same thing. You say 2x divided by this x. So you have 2. So now say plus 2 here. Plus 2 multiplied by 2, you're going to have 2x. Plus 2 multiplied by this, you have plus 2. So this is going to give you 0 when you minus them out. Okay. Now say your slant asymptotes will now be equals to x plus 2. So normally we write it as y equals x plus 2. So that is the slant asymptotes. So now let's talk about vertical asymptotes. Okay, but before we do vertical asymptotes, let's try to simplify numerator. So we have f of x equals, we have quadratic expression here. So out of our denominator, which is x plus 1. So what can we multiply to get 2? 3. When we add them, what can we add to get 3? When we multiply them, we get 2. So we have x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, so this can cancel out this. So we have, so f of x will now be equals to x plus 2. Okay, so you can see that we don't have any denominator again when we factored the original function. So because you don't have any denominator, so you now say no vertical asymptotes, right? So let's find whole. Okay, because we finished vertical asymptote, we've gotten the slide. So let's talk about the whole. So whole, we find whole where for x first. So we have that our x plus 1 should be equals to 0. So x will now be equals to negative 1. Okay, so that is where whole occurred on the x-axis. So for the y-axis, we can also use our f of x, which is f of x equals x plus 2. Okay, so f of x here is negative 1. So I have negative 1 plus 2. So f of negative 1 is going to give us 1. All right, so the whole occurred at points negative 1 and 1. So that is where the whole occurred. So what about point of discontinuity? So the point of discontinuity, we are going to use those factors that we cancelled out. So discontinuity will be x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals minus 1. So that is the point of discontinuity. Okay, so always use the factors you cancelled out to get a point of discontinuity. So for this question, for question 2, we are going to, you can see it's still the same thing. The numerator's power is greater than the denominator. So we are going to also use long division to get our slant height. However, But before that, we can easily factor this. We say f of x equals x plus 1, x squared minus 1, no, minus x plus 1, okay, out of x minus 1, x plus 1. So this can allow this to cancel out, okay? So we now have f of x equals x squared minus x plus 1 out of x, let me remove it from the bracket, minus 1. So this, we can easily use it to find our slant. So you have your slant here, we have your dividends plus 1, you have x minus 1. So if you just do the same thing we did here, so this is going to be x, we have x squared minus x. So this is going to be 0, 0, then we have 1. So our slant asymptotes y will be what? X, because that's our quotient. So it's going to be s. So the next thing we need to find is our vertical asymptotes. So vertical asymptotes, after we simplify, we have x. After we simplify our function, we have our vertical asymptotes will now be x minus 1 equals 0, therefore x equals to 1. So vertical asymptote occurred at x equals to 1. So do we have any whole? Yes. So we have a whole. Whole, we are going to use our cancelled factor, just like we did here. So we have x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals negative 1, right? That is the x axis for the whole. So that is the x point. Okay, 1. Okay. Then for y is going to be, we are using this. So I have negative 1 squared, then minus negative 1 plus 1, everything out of negative 1 minus 1. So this is going to give me 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is going to give me 1, plus 1 is going to be 2, plus 1 is going to be 3. 3. So negative 1 minus 1 is going to give me negative 2. So for my y-axis, I have negative 3 equals 2. So maybe I can write it here. So whole equals, let me put it, I'll say for my x is negative 1 and y is negative 3 out of 2. So that is for the whole. Then let's talk about, so discontinuity. Discontinuity is going to be, that's our whole, which is negative 1. And that is how to find the horizontal asymptote, vertical, slants, whole, and discontinuity. Okay, and I hope this helps.